and welcome to another episode of Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I'm Lara Cotter.
And I'm Sky Orchard.
And we are trying something new today.
Wow.
We are live in person, sitting across from each other, and I can already feel it being a little awkward.
The eye contact.
So we are going to be watching the movie Clueless today because there is a lot of actors from it that come in later to Sabrina, and also it's just an incredibly important piece of teenage media from the 90s that I feel like Sky needs to see because they've never seen it before. And I made comments and references to it, and I really need Sky to get my references.
I'm sorry.
So we are going to try something where we're going to watch it together and record our responses as we watch it. This may be awkward and terrible. We may never do this ever again. It may be fabulous. I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. And let us know what you think of this format, and we'll see if we like it and if we do more of it in the future. I have some background on Clueless.
Okay.
So the tagline for Clueless is sex, clothes, popularity. Is there a problem here?
Should I be scared it's leading with sex?
For it leading with sex, there's not actually a ton of sex in the movie.
Okay.
It premiered on July 19th, 1995, directed and written by Amy Heckerling, who is known for things like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the Look Who's Talking franchise, the Clueless TV show, and she also directed an episode of The Office. We have a huge list of actors who are all very popular. I didn't go through the whole actor list because I think that would take like half an hour. So I did the main ones who have named characters that they play. I didn't do all the like, boy, number one. So first, our star is Alicia Silverstone as Cher. You may recognize her from things like Batman and Robin, Blast from the Past, and then she got her start by appearing in music videos for Aerosmith, including Cryin', Amazing, and Crazy. We then have Stacey Dash as Dion. Again, you might recognize her from Renaissance Man, View from the Top, and she would go on to appear in the Clueless TV show. She is currently a Trump supporter, so we don't talk about Stacey Dash anymore. She hasn't been in much lately. We have the late and great Brittany Murphy as Ty from 8 Mile, Girl Interrupted, Uptown Girls, Riding in Cars with Boys, and a couple episodes of Boy Meets World where she plays Trini, Topanga's best friend, that we only ever see twice, but apparently they're best friends. We have Paul Rudd as Josh, who, if you don't recognize who Paul Rudd is, just like last time with Ryan Reynolds, I don't know how to help you. You might know him as Ant-Man. You might know him from I Love You, Man. Most recently, he was in Only Murders in the Building and did a fantastic job in that show.
That he did.
Donald Faison plays Murray. Again, you should probably recognize Donald Faison. He's from Scrubs, Remember the Titans. He also went on to do the Clueless TV show. He's currently in T-Mobile commercials with Zach Braff. And he was also just in The Magician's Assistant in Sabrina and will come back as Dashiell in season 2. Elisa Donovan is Amber. We will also see her in Sabrina starting in season 5. She was also in A Night at the Roxbury, and she'll go on to do the Clueless TV show as well. Breckin Meyer as Travis is also a face you should recognize, even if you don't know his name, from Road Trip, Rat Race, Franklin and Bash, and a whole bunch of Robot Chicken. Jeremy Sisto is Elton. You might recognize him from FBI, Frozen 2, Law and Order, or Waitress. Dan Hedayat as Mel Horowitz from The Usual Suspects, Mulholland Drive, Commando, and one of my favorite teen thriller movies that's just so awful, Swim Fan. Have you ever heard of Swim Fan? This guy's giving me a look. Okay, backstory. When I was in junior high, I was obsessed with this boy who was like a year older than me, who was on the swim team. Super hot. Swim Fan came out, I think, when I was like in 9th or 10th grade. And it's about a girl who becomes a crazy obsessed stalker with a boy who's on the swim team. I was not a crazy obsessed stalker, but I definitely went and saw the movie and was like, this is awesome. Ada Linares is Lucy from Law & Order and the First Wives Club. Wallace Shawn is Mr. Wendell Hall. Again, if you don't recognize Wallace Shawn, why have you never seen Princess Bride? Bare minimum. Also, you might recognize his voice from The Incredibles or the Toy Story franchise. More recently, he was in Young Sheldon. Twink Kaplan is Miss Geist from Look Who's Talking, Bad Teacher, Just Shoot Me, and Frasier. And lastly, we have Justin Walker as Christian from Last Resort, Boltneck, Takeout, and I shaved my legs for this.
Congrats.
I've never seen that one. So this is based on Emma by Jane Austen. Have you ever read Emma or seen any of the other adaptations of it, Sky?
I have. Do I remember anything? No.
I've never read it. I think I've seen one of the more recent adaptations, but it didn't really hold my attention very well, so I don't know how closely it relates. But I do have this fun quote about Clueless. Fun, not fun. Film executives at Fox were wary of the story being too female-oriented to appeal to a large enough audience, despite the fact that it's based on Emma, which is female-oriented and appeals to a large enough audience. But okay, it was obvious they didn't get it. They thought the script needed more boys in it. They were afraid that if they focused on girls, we wouldn't get any guys to see it.
The patriarchy.
Which I think is another conversation we just had a couple years ago with the Barbie movie. That was a blockbuster hit. And Clueless is so iconic and so popular in the zeitgeist now that can we not worry about making media for boys? We can have maybe one movie a year. That's all I ask for women.
That's the limit.
We can have one. Anyway, and then I had this kind of fun fact. Zach Braff actually auditioned for the role of Josh, which would have made this the first time he and Donald Faison worked together. And I wonder if they still would have been friends had they started here. But I also think Paul Rudd is just the much better choice for Josh, which is why he got it. Any thoughts before we get into this guy? Do you know anything about Clueless?
No. But I have the DVD in front of me.
Okay.
And I'm a little scared of these special features, duh, in parentheses, on the back. Includes suck and blow tutorial. Language arts, because you have to have the 411 on the groundbreaking slang and vocabulary used in this movie. Fashion 101. Driver's ed. No context, just driver's ed. But really, that suck and blow tutorial has me a little scared, so I guess we'll see what happens here.
To put this into context for you, I was probably 10 or 11 when I watched this. So think about my family and how I grew up. Recognize I watched this at 10 or 11, and that's going to tell you like how risque this gets.
Okay.
However, there were several things that went completely over my head to the point where I actually watched this on a plane, I think a year or two ago when I was flying out somewhere. And there was a moment I was like, oh my gosh, how did I completely miss this major plot point? But we'll talk about it as we get there.
Sounds good.
All right. Should we start it?
Let's do it.
Okay. Hello, Cat.
Scene one.
Scene one. So we're a couple minutes into the movie. We've met Cher, her father, Dion, and Murray. We've seen some of Cher's driving skills. First thoughts and impressions, Sky.
90s movie, very much so. I'm liking the soundtrack so far. What the crap sort of computer program is she using were we optimistic about what the 90s would bring us?
I don't think it was supposed to be futuristic. I think it was supposed to be rich person. I think that was the vibes. It was like, if you could imagine what the perfect 1995 rich teenage girl's closet would look like, I think it was supposed to be that.
So like a real software or made up for the movie?
I mean, it's made up for the movie. It's not anything that actually exists, but I think the thought was that her dad has so much money that she hired people to create this software program for her.
Because he's a litigator.
Yes.
Scariest of the lawyers.
Yes.
Mentions I'm going to pronounce this terribly, Noxzema commercial?
Uh-huh.
Noxzema commercial?
Noxzema, yeah.
Noxzema, which is face wash. I just learned that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mentions Josh has a stepbrother, and
Yes.
I'm scared. Is this going to be like a cruel intentions falling for each other? I really hope not.
If you remember, she said he was a stepbrother. He's no longer with Josh's mom anymore. And they were together for a very brief period 5 years ago. So the
dad and the mom.
The dad and the
Okay.
mom, yeah. So yes, technically stepbrother, stepsister. Wasn't long enough to actually form any sort of sibling attachment is an argument. And it doesn't seem like they see each other super frequently, but we will learn more about their relationship going forward.
I feel like that was a potential trend of the 90s. It's this weird step-sibling love. Ugh.
Yes, for sure.
Last comment for scene one, since scene two seems to start in the high school. That exterior, at least, is Torrance High School, which was also the high school used in Buffy. So
Wow, okay.
Clocked that instantly. I know some things.
We did have I know there wasn't going to be a lot of sex in this, but we did have a reference to sex in like the first few minutes. Because when Murray's like, woman, have you been jeeping with other people? And then we have Dion explain, speaking of vehicular sex, so clearly jeeping means going out and having sex in a jeep.
I missed that completely.
So yes, there's a lot of talk about sex, but I wouldn't say there's a lot of actual sex.
Okay. I guess we'll see as we proceed into scene 2. If the government can just get to the kitchen, rearrange things, we could totally party with the Haitians.
And may I remind you, it does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty.
It was quite the debate there.
I love it. I feel like it's still, I mean, it's silly in how they present it, but it's still timely and relevant. And people have been using that quote quite a bit recently on the internet. Like they've been using this gif of her saying that.
I have not seen that at all.
I've seen it in my circles, my 90s media circles.
Your algorithm.
Yes.
Sorry. I did like that the one kid's priority was to get to the quad immediately to rescue his cranberry CD. I think that's
very important.
Priorities right there. The weird kid trying to jump out the window and
they're on
teachers.
They're like in a first floor room too.
It's just like a bush out there, not like a tree. The teacher saying, you know, let's save the suicide attempts till next period. Okay. And also the whatever sign doing 2 hands. I don't know if I'd seen that before.
Oh, that was huge. We did that all the time, especially post this movie. I would say it caught on when I was more in 6th grade, which would have been a couple years after this, which is about the time that all of us would have been allowed to watch this movie. It definitely had a resurgence too when it came to the video rental stores, because a lot of us that were too young to maybe go see it in the theaters at the time were then starting to check it out for a movie or for sleepovers. That's where I first thought was at a sleepover. And then, yeah, the whatever loser like became a thing.
I'm used to like the 3 fingers, forehead, the whatever major loser.
That was an evolution of this, yes.
Well, I've learned a thing already. Let's see what the next scene or couple of scenes brings. I don't know how we're doing this.
Yeah, whenever we want to stop.
Cool. I've got the power.
So we've met Josh, who is supposed to be the stereotypical, more indie, maybe early emo college student, flannel wearing, Amnesty International t-shirt wearing. Thoughts on Josh?
I like him more than Cher. Yeah.
You like him more than Cher, really?
I do.
Okay.
He seems like a better person.
I think there are layers to Cher that it's hard to maybe notice at first. As we get through the movie, there's more and more to her. One thing, especially in these last couple scenes we watched, Cher's vocabulary is pretty impressive for a girl who's supposed to be a California Valley girl, and I think belies an intelligence that maybe she either doesn't want to show or doesn't know how to show. But I think she's a lot smarter than people give her credit for. I mean, even in the first debate, her tangent about her dad's birthday party was maybe not the best academically, but it actually showed a correlation, like she could correlate these 2 disparate ideas to make her point. So I think she's smarter than maybe a lot of people give her credit for.
Oh, agreed. I'm appreciating her vocabulary so far. Liked the little ducats for money reference there. The Shakespeare being from Cliff's Notes was an interesting thing there. Going back, we'll get to the note in a second. I have a note about the note, but try and go slightly sequentially there. My notes are all over the place here. Don't have structure. Got a chuckle out of the columns dating back to 1972 for her house there. She mentions that her mother passed away in a fluke accident during a routine liposuction. So the mortality rate for liposuction is extremely low, estimated at around 0.01%, 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 100,000 procedures.
But that's probably the mortality rate now. I wonder if the mortality rate, because so this takes place in 1995. Let's say Cher's still 15, so it would have been like 1980-ish. What would the mortality rate have been? Are you looking it up?
You bet I am.
Because I think liposuction was fairly new even in the 90s. So it had to be like in its infancy back in the 80s.
You're questioning my stats, so I must check it.
Historical death rates of liposuction.
Fine. Mortality rates were higher than acceptable due to complications, including pulmonary edema and abdominal perforation for all our fun Grey's Anatomy fans as well. It doesn't give me a rate, so you're welcome for the statistics of now for liposuction fatalities. Oh, 23% actually.
Back in the
1980 to 1989.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Moving on to the dinner scene after we meet Josh. I did appreciate Josh's sick burn of superficial space cadet.
There's a lot of good insults.
Deciding that Mr. Hall needs a good, healthy boink fest.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about sex.
I'm getting that now.
But also, who amongst us has not made that comment about a teacher at one point in our careers?
I have not.
You've never?
No.
I have definitely made that comment about a teacher before.
Have you used the word boink?
No, I don't think I used the word boink, but I was definitely like, man, they need to get laid.
Okay.
I know I've definitely said that about bosses before. Not my current boss, if she's listening to this. I love her.
My last note about the note she wrote for Mrs. Geist. Maybe should have made the handwriting a little less teenage girl.
Miss Geist also seems out of it enough that I don't know if she would question that.
That's valid.
Also, if you wanted to be truly anonymous, you would get somebody else to write it for you to disguise your handwriting.
It's true. Before we move on to the next scene, Lydia Dietz has chosen to join us in the background. She has to wear a collar with a bell for her safety and our safety.
Cat. Can we clarify Lydia Dietz is a cat?
Yes. So apologies for the bell noises in the background. One day we'll have a fancy soundproof room. That is not today.
Nope.
So you get environmental sounds featured in this podcast. You're welcome. Onward and upward. Well, I feel like we got through a couple of scenes there before pausing.
So we had another little bit with Josh, where Cher trying to get him to drive her around, or drive around with her, I guess. Still liking Josh more than Cher?
I think so. Previously in that classroom scene with Mr. Hall, I like that the sort of hippie character dude, I don't know how you'd describe him, Travis, his last name is Birkenstock. That gave me quite the chuckle there. Her excuse of Crimson Wave for why she was tardy. It looks like that became popular because of this movie. So that was fun there.
Yep.
And then when her dad bans her from driving and she goes and bugs Josh, he is reading Nietzsche, but more specifically based on the color of the spine of the book. I found it. He's reading specifically the basic writings of Nietzsche.
I can't remember if we get an exact age for Josh in this. If we think that he's like 18, maybe in his first year or semester of college, and it's a little bit less terrible, but if we get older than that, it becomes increasingly worse.
That it does. Speaking of horrifying, as soon as I get my license, I fully intend to break her out.
Yes. I love her. She's unhinged in the best way.
We also learn that legs crossed towards each other is unequivocal sex invite.
We didn't necessarily talk about like sex, but this was a thing of like if your legs are crossed towards each other, it meant there was attraction, and that was like a whole thing in like my pubescence teenage years.
I don't know where I was during anything.
Where were you in 1995, Scott?
Granted, I was 4.
I was at least 9, and then because this took off, it became like hugely, so much of it just entered the like mainstream consciousness for teenagers as we entered like 12, 13 years old.
And then we get a montage. And does Cher have a boyfriend? Who's that dude who's hugging and kissing?
That's Elton. He's kind of her boyfriend, kind of like sort of friends with benefits, not like full benefits, but like flirty. I don't know if we get I can't remember that specific storyline, if it's ever like a full like they're dating or not, but he's definitely interested in her.
Okay, that was who are you? Why are you here?
Yeah, because she definitely said at the beginning, why is Dee dating a high school boy? And she lists off the reason why high school boys are terrible. So I don't think she's necessarily interested in any of her male classmates, but she's also not going to turn down attention.
Touche. And I think going into these next scenes, Lydia Dietz will be wearing a sweater, so we hear her hopefully a lot less going forward. Laura is soft, so Lydia Dietz was in a sweater for about a minute, and then it was off, but the bell is gone. I took a photo of Lydia for the socials.
Her face was so sad.
She was repping the Kirkland brand.
So we had gym class where we meet Ty, the lovely and so talented Brittany Murphy. What do you think of Ty?
I like Ty. One of the catty girls, as I'm calling that right there, is like, oh, she's dressed like she could be a farmer, but I feel like that's just classic 90s gay fashion. Originally, I was like, oh, or, never ending queer fashion there. Originally, I was like, oh, Ty's queer, and then she has a thing for Travis. So
she could be bi.
Yeah, she could be bi. She could still be queer.
Definitely queer-coded.
Yes, queer-coded for sure. So Cher decides she's gonna keep helping people because she's so great at it. So she advises Dion that when your allergies act up, take out your nose ring. Does nothing. Can confirm. The PE teacher, Miss Stoger, seems like a bit of a pushover. The catty girls just obliterate any attempt of her being a teacher.
Well, I think this is also like the stereotypical rich kid school where, all these kids have parents that are lawyers, CEOs, and those parents will make your life a living hell if you do anything to their precious babies. So she's probably learned her lesson over the years of like, do I actually want to fight this fight or do I care and just want to get my paycheck at the end of the day?
That's valid. I was totally expecting for Cher to actually get hit by a tennis ball, and I'm a little disappointed it just came close to her nose there. That comment to one of the catty girls about, she can't have any activities where balls fly at her nose, and then Dion says, well, there goes her social life.
I definitely did not get that as a child, but it's one of my favorite lines as an adult.
That was a great one there. Love the herbal refreshment, and they say, oh, we don't have any tea, and then talking about getting Coke, and then Ty gets really excited, and they remind her that it's a free country, and so of course they can have Coke.
Again, not something I got as a child when I first watched it, but...
We learn about some more of the cliques at the school besides what I've called the catty girls. So you have the TV station, the Persian Mafia that you can't be in unless you own a BMW, the Popular Boys, and then the Lodies. I liked Travis's skateboard with the stickers as is. I don't think Marvin the Martian is the route to go.
But the Looney Tunes had such a chokehold on 90s pop culture. Like, there used to be a Warner Brothers store in the Mall in Murray.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Back when, there was a Disney store and a Warner Brothers store, and I had so much Tweety Bird merch.
I do remember a lot of Tweety Bird. I didn't realize they act.
Oh, yeah, there was a Warner Brothers store. I actually was just going through some stuff at my parents' house to see if there's toys we want to give to my niece. My dad found a whole tea set I had with Tweety Bird on it.
Wow. Peggy's high now. I'm sorry, y'all. The background sounds are just cat chaos today. Last note before we go into a makeover scene, it feels like we're about to go into one, is Dion says that makeovers give Cher a sense of control in a world full of chaos. And do we all just need makeovers right now?
I think we all search for that sense of control in something. I definitely have said to myself more than once, I'm like, at least I can control this. Whatever that thing happens to be in the moment. But there's so much spiraling outside of that. I would not be opposed to some, I would even say a kind teenage girl being like, you know what, we're going to make you over right now. I'd be like, you know what, let's go for it.
I mean, you have a lot of youths in your company.
I do. I also teach some youths in my piano.
Scary.
Yeah, But no, I'm super excited for this makeover scene. Let's get into it. Makeover time!
Makeover!
Started with rinsing the red dye out of her hair, and I told Sky, I was like, remind me to talk about dyeing your hair with Kool-Aid, because I'm pretty sure that's what Ty did for it to wash out that easily.
Hopefully, because otherwise that bathtub's gonna be stained.
That was definitely a thing in the 90s.
I do remember that. Cher has basically a dry cleaning conveyor belt in her closet.
Yep.
I hope she's gotten stuck in it at least once. Circle around it. Does Ty have a tattoo?
Where? I don't know where.
Upper forearm.
Maybe.
Almost looks like, couldn't see it clearly enough. I'm sure it's like maybe a solar thing there, but almost looks like a COVID virus. Just the circular shape with the little like spikies and whatnot. So
I didn't notice. I'll have to pay attention. I like how part of Cher's makeover was also not just like fashion and makeup, but it was exercising and then reading books. So we got another reference to Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus, which you've learned recently is a book.
Yes.
From Sabrina. And then I did appreciate her like, let's actually go do something good for the world. Like, oh, well, Cher is a well-rounded individual.
I love Josh's pop in of when Cher is talking about let's do something good for the world, where he says sterilization would be a service to humanity. Also, when we first see Josh, Cher's like, the dreaded ex-brother, Cher.
Yeah. Could you sing along with the Mentos commercial?
I could not.
I
love it. You don't get jingles like that nowadays, I feel like.
Like, I was actually just singing, like, a couple weeks ago, the Double Dance song in my head.
I frequently get the Oscar Mayer song stuck in my head.
I mean, who doesn't?
And the Jello song. When Travis is handing out flyers to the party in the valley, Ty says, "Oh, do you think Travis is going to be at the party?" Ty, he just handed you the flyer.
Ty's not the brightest bulb, but she's sure sweet.
Touche. And then we get that photo montage in front of the fountain.
Yes, so awkward.
The sideways pigtails. How much hair product is in to keep them at that angle and floating directly sideways?
Amber's so weird because she's like kind of an antagonist, but she's definitely still in their social group. So she's like a frenemy. We call it today. We would call her a frenemy. For as much as Cher has a very distinct fashion style, and then Dion takes it a step further, Amber's even a step further removed from that. There was a quick shot of the whole quad when they were eating lunch. I think during Ty's first lunch when she comes out, and Amber has white fuzzy earmuffs on for some reason.
Oh, I missed that.
So the hair is weird, but it's also one of those things where like if someone even minutely less popular did it, they would be so mocked. But because it's Amber, everybody's like, wow, that's so fashionable and so, haute couture and like.
My last note from this section of the movie, I guess. They say that Ty looks like one of those Botticelli chicks, and Botticelli is most famous for The Birth of Venus, Naked Lady on the Clamshell. You've all seen it.
Ty does not nearly have the body fat percentage to be a Botticelli painting subject. Like, there are no hips on Brittany Murphy as much as I love her. We've moved away, well, we did move away from the crazy diet thinness obsession of the 90s for a minute, and it's starting to creep back in. And man, that was just such a rough time for every woman.
Yeah, the book of the week Cher is reading is Fit or Fat.
Yes. We're seeing it come back, and there was then too, but there's definitely like almost this morality component of it where like if you're not super thin, you're not leading a good life, almost is what we're seeing creep back into the world. So that's one thing I wish would have been left in the 90s. It's also just kind of a sad note to see how this had permeated even 15-year-old girls. Speaking of which, we also learned Ty's not a virgin at 15.
That's true. We learned they're 15, and Josh is a freshman in college.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's that.
But still, freshman in college, what, 18?
18. Maybe 17, maybe 17. If he has a late birthday, but
Cher is still 15 with a birthday in April, so she is older and wiser than Ty, whose birthday is in May.
Which was such a thing in high school. Like, my birthday was in November, my best friend's was in April, and so it was very much like I had this like little bit of authority over her.
Your superiority complex. Yes. Well, I think we're going to a party in the valley.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we're going to see a 90s rich kid party.
Woo woo! Being crunk.
So we're at the party.
Merry Christmas.
This is like now over the course of like a couple months. We started the year, I think, towards the beginning of the school year. Now we're into Christmas. Cher's still trying to push Ty towards Elton for better or for worse. Ty's kind of going along with it, but also clearly still interested in Travis. The party, I never went to a high school party like that. Well, I just wasn't invited to a lot of high school parties, but I think maybe more common, especially for like upper class kids, that was maybe a thing that happened. Not so much suburban Utah.
Yeah, checks out. Elton is awkwardly doing the robot dance when we first see him.
Mhm.
Looks innocent and silly, and then we find out he is toxic masculinity.
Mhm.
Suck and blow was not as bad as I thought it would be. So initially I thought the person was holding a like credit card, and so I thought it was like cocaine. And then it turned out to not be cocaine. So
Well, it's not cocaine now.
Dion being so upset about the hair being shaved. The hair will grow back?
But in the meantime, he's going to be bald. And this is Dion, who's extremely obsessed with looks and appearances.
Touche.
We also see Donald Faison has a tattoo on his chest, possibly another one on his back, or his character did. I don't know if those are actually Donald Faison's tattoos. What's funny is Donald Faison shaves his head now.
Don't tell Dion.
Yeah, mostly feel bad for Travis, feel bad for Ty, feel bad for Cher, hate Elton. This is also something going back to the Sabrina TV movie that we watched. Again, we had the popular boy taking the sweet girl to a place to try and make out with her. She shoves him off, gets out of the car, and he abandons her.
Yeah. Back when Ty was knocked out, and then is placed on the counter and Elton's helping revive her. I love that she sat up and instantly hit her head again. I've definitely done that before.
Did you like the line of ask her things? What 7 times 7? Ask her things she knows.
Yeah. I liked the rolling with my homies.
Yes. So that dance move that they do where they do the hands behind your head. Yeah, that was such a thing we all did.
The misquote of Dickens of "'Tis a far, far better thing doing stuff for other people." Okay.
I mean, not a bad quote.
And then when her dad is calling her, he says, "Everywhere in LA takes 20 minutes. Oh, that must have been the good old times then. Not the case. And it sounded like there was a random helicopter overhead when the dad calls.
Well, I think that's because they were in the shadier part. So they were in Sun Valley, they were in LA, and I think that was the shadier part of town, hence why there was the robbery. So I think it's one of those like police department helicopters just surveying the area type things.
Yeah, I was expecting like the police were going to shut down the party because they indicated earlier the parties only last an hour before the police shut them down. I like that the one chick, I'm sure she has a name, is stealing a snowman.
Oh, Summer, yeah.
Summer.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't expecting a robbery, but also the fact that she's most upset about ruining her dress.
I know.
Priorities. Josh to the rescue.
Reluctantly.
Very reluctantly.
With his kind of pretentious college girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who also misquotes Shakespeare.
I like I know Mel Gibson better than you and stuff. I know Hamlet better than you.
Ironically, this morning I was watching, there's a new version of Hamlet that just came out. Scott something. He played the hot priest on Fleabag, I think. So I was watching a clip of it this morning and people were discussing in the comments like the different Hamlet versions, and somebody referenced Mel Gibson's as being highly underrated. Mel Gibson's Hamlet. I haven't watched it. I don't know. So maybe I need to watch it.
It's fine. I think David Tennant Hamlet actually is the best. Okay.
All right, on to the next part.
Onward. Halibut ho! Part 8. The Christian segment.
What do you think about Christian?
My first note about him when you told me to take a note was just very Elvis hair.
Yep. Okay.
That was my note.
So she definitely spots Christian immediately and is finally interested in a high school guy. And she does everything in her power to make him notice her, which he does eventually.
And right before Christian comes in, Ty, Dee, and Cher are all talking at a fast food place, it looks like. I liked Ty's, "If I'm too good for him, then how come I'm not with him?" whininess. And then we learn that Cher is a virgin, or the politically correct term, hymenally challenged.
Yes. Also, Dee is technically a virgin.
Yep, technical.
Based on how Ty talks, she is not only not a virgin, but she's maybe had multiple partners at the age of 15.
Agreed.
So I don't know what's happening in these high schools, but it's not the things that were happening in my high schools.
Rich kids.
Yep. So Ty, even though she's not, I would say, quite the same personality as Dee and Cher, I don't think it matters what clique you belong to, how you dress, how you present yourself. The heartache and the emotions and the hormones of teenage girls are just such a universal experience that even though she wasn't super interested in Elton at first and like Travis was still her pick and then she eventually made her way over to Elton, it's still like the rejection and the heartache of that to the point where it's like, this is our song, and they danced to it once and they were never actually a couple, and it's just like, that's such a thing that you go through as a teenager, especially as a teenage girl.
And then Christian comes into the picture and he's saying like kitty corner to Cher there, and we get our little sort of Christian montage where Cher's hyping herself up by sending herself her own flowers and candies and whatnot. During that montage, she drops her pen, the pink pen with the fluffy ball on top, and he says, "Nice stems." What does stem mean?
Legs.
Oh.
Legs are the stem of your body.
That's just silly.
I don't think that was a 90s slang so much as it is like his 50s, 60s vibe that he has going on.
Oh, the way he talks, I hate it. Chuckle when Mr. Hall said, "It's time for your oral." And then also during that montage, we get another book where Christian is reading Junkie by William Burroughs, which the basic plot is it follows William Lee as he struggles with his addiction to morphine and heroin.
All right. Sure.
That's about it right there for your summary. His outfits as well, like when he arrives at Cher's house, that coat and hat. Oh my gosh, I hated it.
There's also in one of the like montage parts, there's something about the 90s and these kind of like preppier boys and wearing bowling shirts. And I don't know what it is. And looking back on it, it's such a terrible fashion choice, but at the time it was so hot and cool.
Cher's fashion during that pickup scene to go to the party. I like how her dad's like, "No, you need to go change." And her solution is to put on just a see-through white jacket.
Yeah. Also, she says it's a Calvin Klein dress, which is incorrect. It's actually an Anna Sui dress, which why you would credit Calvin Klein when Anna Sui is arguably a much higher end fashion designer is insane.
Maybe it's so that the dad could say, "Well, you look like you're wearing underwear."
That's probably true. But still, like, pick an actual Calvin Klein dress then.
But also, how do you know that fact?
Because the internet knows that fact.
Okay.
And because people know that that's not a Calvin Klein dress.
Okay. Just you carry that around in your brain?
I learned it not that long ago, but when I saw the dress, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That's not a Calvin Klein dress.
Based on the soundtrack we've gotten so far, it was nice to see like a ska band at the party there.
It's the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. They're still around. They are touring. They're coming to Utah.
Oh my gosh. I think I would enjoy it more than the Violent Femmes, not gonna lie.
I mean, if you want to go, we can go. I still haven't got our Goo Goo Dolls and Dashboard tickets yet, so we can add Mighty Mighty Boss Tones to that. Oh, skas. Did you enjoy ska?
I like ska still.
Did you have friends who did like the ska dancing?
No.
Okay, this is going to be after Clueless. We're going to have to look at, I think it was called like Skank. We'll have to look it up because there's a very specific way to dance to ska, and I had some guy friends who were very into it.
I liked the Amber insult when Amber's dancing with Elton of she's a full-on Monet, from far away she's okay, but up close it's a mess.
Yeah. I also actually really enjoy her outfit at the dance. Like I love it. If I could pull it off, I would wear it.
And then yeah, you got the dancing and then it cuts to just Christian dancing by himself.
So we learn a little bit more about Christian's character. Do you have any like, I don't want to give anything away. We learn that Christian doesn't even look at any other girls. He's very into dancing.
So, yes, I clocked this, but I didn't want to be presumptuous.
No, I was hoping you would get it because the way I did not.
Yeah, no. You see, like, he throws off the girl's attempt when he's at the bar there. And he's dancing by himself, and then another guy comes near, and he's into it, and it's like, okay, I think I see where this is going.
Yeah. The way I never got this part of the Christian character, and we'll get more blatant about it to the point where you're going to be like, Laura, how did you not understand this?
You were sheltered.
I was sheltered. And I think even then when I watched it as an adult, it was more like I wasn't sitting down and like watching it, but more it was like on, and I was just like looking up and down. So like the fact that I didn't understand this part of Christian's character until very recently is kind of wild.
Based on the book he's reading and his dancing with himself there, I feel like he's on something.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He's on something. Yeah. I don't know enough about drugs to guess which one. Because he's happy. I don't think it's not weed. It doesn't seem like weed.
Nah.
I don't know what ecstasy does to you. Might be that.
Yeah, something manic energy.
Yeah.
Not chill.
Yeah. But also just very happy. So no like depressive drugs.
And then once again, we have Josh coming in, rescuing in a way, getting them home when Christian's ready to hang out with the dudes post party.
Oh, that was my other thought, Ty, when Cher tells Ty to tie the jacket around her waist or tie the shirt around her waist. That was also a weirdly huge moment in fashion. And I like remember doing it. I remember when it stopped and I was just like, yeah, I used to do that all the time throughout junior high. And like even late elementary school, like I always had a jacket, a sweater, or something tied around my waist.
You know, as an adult, it's never too late to just do that again.
I think now it's more a function of not efficiency, but just like making it easier to carry around a jacket without carrying. Like now it's more about utility than it is about fashion.
Make it both. Give yourself that makeover to end the chaos. I mean, fashion's going back to 80s, 90s.
It's not even going back to the good 80s and 90s. Like the ruffled ankle socks with Mary Jane's. Like I see a lot of early 20 girls wearing that, and I just see toddler feet.
I thought for a moment you were about to say that was the good part of
No, that was the worst part. Like I love a Mary Jane, don't mind a Mary Jane, together with the ruffled socks, it just makes you look infantile. There's such a deeper conversation here to be had about moving back to more conservative values and making women dress more conservatively, which means younger. I don't want to get into, but it's just, I don't know how anyone can't look at that and be like, you look like you're 3 years old.
And that's Meeting Christian.
Meeting Christian!
Who knows where we'll go next? I have no clue where any of this is going.
I mean, you kind of know where it's going to go at the end.
Well, yes, but it hasn't happened yet. Like, how long is this movie?
We're further along than I initially thought, so I think we're getting towards the climax, yeah.
We will see if Laura's a liar or not. Are you ready for part 9's title?
Yes, I'm ready.
Josh is coming to stay, going all the way, getting on the freeway, and Christian saves the day.
I love it. I love it. Where do we start?
Loving the cartoon flashbacks, Ren and Stimpy. Earlier we had Beavis and Butthead as well. Josh and Cher seem a little flirty on that couch.
Cher also, like, that was a moment when I was like, oh, Alicia Silverstone is actually quite young. Like, she looks really young in that scene. She did not as, like, done up or anything and putting the little clips in her hair. She looks like a 15-year-old in that moment.
That's true. After the little Josh and Cher moment, we cut to a little 2001: A Space Odyssey tribute, looking at that phone while Cher waits for it to ring. Barbie still has the best.
Yes.
2001.
Yes, 100%.
We learn she's planning on doing it with Christian when he comes over to watch some movies.
And goes through a lot of work to make it happen. Lighting design, baking something.
You know, when it's burning, she doesn't turn the oven off.
She doesn't even close the oven door.
She's just sitting there, and they just go to watch movies. Christian isn't even like, let's turn that off.
Yeah, her and Dion do all of the makeup, the choosing the outfit, all that.
And then we learn Christian has a thing for Tony Curtis.
Yes.
So they're watching Some Like It Hot and Spartacus. And while they're watching, that's the most awkward footsie scene. Like, you think Napoleon Dynamite is bad, but this might be on level.
It's rough. You can see the moment where Christian realizes what she thinks, and it's so awkward, and I feel so bad for him.
And then they're on the freeway.
This is probably the most iconic scene of Clueless. Like, the gifs that have come out of this scene of Donald Faison's face and him screaming. Like, I don't understand what the purpose of the scene is, other than to get Dion laid.
Yes, it's no longer technical. Well, Cher has that sort of voiceover of like coming that close to death makes her realize how important love is.
Yeah. I love Dion trying to drive. And Murray, like, it's kind of sweet how he's really not trying to add to the stress, but he's also like, just move over, get in the right lane, get over there. And then he's like very good about like calming her down afterwards. That's like his one kind of sweet moment of the show.
Yes. Murray to the rescue in that way, and also enlightening Cher about Christian.
Oh yeah. So like they do actually say he's gay.
Yes.
How I missed that, or maybe like I did and I didn't remember it or something. But I remember like when they do like the whole he's a cake boy and like and he says all the other things and the girls are like, huh? And like that was definitely me too. I was like, I don't understand what does any of that mean? So I like that Marie just came out and was very explicit in it.
And then we're back at the mall, and Cher and Christian are
shopping together.
He has better fashion sense than her. She admits it.
What we say he does? He has more old-fashioned fashion sense than her.
Cher and Dion think he does.
Okay.
He dresses better than.
Yeah. All right.
And then Christian saves Ty.
Yes. I didn't notice this before on Ty when she's sitting on the banister. You can see the little upside down triangle of the Guess logo on her jeans. And that's when you know Ty has reached it as a fashion icon. She is wearing Guess jeans in 1995. She did it. Poor Ty just cannot pick a man for her life. Maybe Travis would have been a better choice, but would he have been?
I'm thinking she still goes with Travis in the end.
I think Travis actually likes her for her, which is nice. I also think he's a teenage boy. He's a high school boy.
Yeah. Guess we'll have to find out.
Guess jeans.
Part 10, A Makeover of the Soul.
So Ty's little brush with death has skyrocketed her popularity.
And in that crowd scene where everyone's like talking to her about how she almost died and how she was feeling and whatnot, on the subtitles, I don't know if you saw or if you heard the whole G-Spot and Cosmo.
Yep.
And then the one dude was like, you know, when I fell off the jungle gym when I was 9, and talking about how his life flashed before his eyes by falling off the jungle gym.
Yes, I enjoyed that. So Cher's clearly put out that her project has now surpassed her and does not know how to handle it.
Not at all. She seemed shocked that Dion was going to Ty for like sex advice, but Cher, you haven't done anything.
I know. I think it's more that she's upset that her best friend is having an intimate conversation with somebody who's not her.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I do want to read Emma to see like how this correlates to 19th century society, because I'm sure there's something in there about Emma herself being knocked down a peg or two, because from what I know, I think she's like a wealthy member of society trying to take on a project as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see Cher kind of come to this realization that her popularity is maybe a little bit fleeting, and when you've built your whole persona around it, what do you do when it's gone?
High school isn't forever.
No, although some people try to make it forever.
Yeah.
Then we get Cher's driving.
Yeah, that outfit she finally chose as the one that makes her look capable. It's quite the doozy there. I also, in the moment, wrote, hopefully Cher will pass so she doesn't hit animals anymore. ... And bikers, apparently.
Yeah, she is not a good driver. When I first took my driving test, I was so terrified of not passing it because I was a very book smart kid. And it was one of those moments where I was like, oh no, it's not just taking a test, it's actually doing the thing. And I did fine. I think I passed with something in the 80s. I'm a much better driver today. But yeah, for those of us who are very good at things in theory, having to do it in practices, I didn't almost hit anybody. It's just parallel parking has never been my forte.
Luckily, there's cameras.
Not in my car. 09 Toyota Corolla does not have a camera. So I just don't parallel park. If my option is parallel parking right next to where I need to be or parking 2 blocks away, I will just park 2 blocks away.
Good to know. Then we have 2 separate epiphanies. Ty realizes Elton was not great.
Yeah, and I feel like she already realized that. I feel like the moment in the diner and then the moment in the locker room was that realization. But apparently, Cher is taking her driver's test, and she said that she turned 16 in April. So it's now April, and that party happened in December. It's taken Ty 4 months to get over what was literally one dance.
Right.
I know I just was talking about like how the hormones and the emotions of it all. So I can understand how it can take a while to get over a crush, but my goodness, girl.
So we have Ty doing a ritual burning of the items she's connected with Elton and the towel she stole.
Which Elton didn't even get for her. Cher got it for her.
And she has had the epiphany that Josh is a cutie patootie smarty.
Did you notice that Ty's outfit in that scene almost exactly mimics Cher's earlier first outfit, like the yellow plaid that Cher had? Now Ty's in a pink plaid version of that same outfit.
I did not notice that.
It's clearly like a full circle. Ty has become Cher. She even does her little I'm outie thing that Cher did in like one of the first scenes.
And when Cher's trying to talk with Ty, Ty says, "You're just a virgin who can't drive." Which is probably the sickest burn so far.
That was way harsh, Ty.
Way harsh. And then, because of Ty, Cher has her epiphany as well. Oh my gosh, she likes Josh!
I love the fountain and the lights. This movie's so well done in so many ways, from the sound and the music to the lighting and the blocking. It's a masterpiece, which sounds so silly because it's a teenage rom-com, essentially.
While she's thinking about, her feelings with Josh, how she really likes him, but he's not conventionally cute. Girl, it's Paul Rudd.
And then she says, I guess he is kind of a Baldwin. Yeah. Just like, I will say, for all of his faults, Alec Baldwin is a very attractive man. His brothers.
Yeah.
Depending on the brother and the era, I guess. Stephen Baldwin is not, I think. Alec Baldwin is the best at looking at the Baldwins.
Agreed. And she can't do her normal thing of sending herself flowers or candies, so obviously she must make over herself and her soul.
That's a good introspective moment, though, that a lot of teenage girls would not come to.
Yeah. Oh, I've been a little shallow.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should not be.
Yes.
And her makeover consists of becoming the captain of the Pismo Beach disaster relief drive or whatnot there.
Did you look up the Pismo Beach disaster?
Yes, and it's a fake event.
Okay.
However, Pismo Beach does several times have like large waves hitting it and all that.
I mean, I feel like there could have been an actual disaster during this time, but I guess the timing of it'd be like, when they're filming it, it'd be like a year later, so maybe it doesn't make sense. But I feel like there's a real disaster that we maybe could have referenced around this time period.
I mean, Pismo Beach has had earthquakes, wildfires, storms, flooding, tsunamis, hazardous materials incidents.
Reminds me of that scene in the animated Hercules. Did the fire come before or after the flood or something like that?
But the badge Cher is wearing,
yes,
that's
the
like
giant
the size
captain
of her head.
Yes.
We see Travis again.
Travis is maybe sober.
Yeah.
Do we think it's from everything? Or do we think it's an alcohol? Do we think it's a weed?
I think it's weed.
He's given up his paraphernalia.
Yes. Traditional bong and then the honey bear bong.
Again, things that went so over my head when I first saw this. Didn't understand the 12-step reference. Didn't know what a bong was. This is the very first time I've clocked the honey one.
And Travis is becoming a member of ASL, the Amateur Skateboarding League.
And Cher's gonna go see him. So we're seeing growth, character growth.
Had a change of heart.
Yep.
We'll see if it lasts. Part 11, conclusion. We see Travis skate.
Yeah.
And Ty remembers that Travis exists and that she liked him from the start.
And his skate skills just win over her heart.
So cool. He still doesn't have a Marvin the Martian on the bottom of his board.
Maybe once they get together, she'll draw it for him. Which we never ever even addressed her drawing skills again after that one point.
It's not popular to draw. I was sort of hoping at some point Ty would like re-embrace her old fashion because it wasn't bad.
I think she's at least found like a middle ground. Like she's not quite as preppy as she is at the peak of her popularity. Like it kind of comes a little bit back down.
We go back to Cher's house. That paralegal is a jerk.
I don't know if he's a paralegal. I bet he's a full-blown lawyer, but I bet he's like a first year or something. Like he's probably low down on the pecking order. I can understand how frustrating it would be to have a 16-year-old girl and a 18-year-old freshman in college trying to help the multi-million-dollar lawsuit. And then it's apparently a very important lawsuit and he's going to have to do so much work on it. But he's like, I'm calling out sick tomorrow. I'm like, I have a feeling Mel's more likely to fire you for that than for being like, hey, there was a mix up with the files when your daughter was helping and now I'm set back and I have to do this. I'm sure Mel would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let's get you some extra help or so. I don't know. I don't know how he is as a boss. He may be a hard ass. I don't know.
I mean, the fact that it was his daughter trying to help and making the mistake, I feel like there's a little leeway of Mel being nicer.
You would hope, but sometimes those high-powered lawyer guys just are irrational.
Yep. And because of jerky jerk dude, Josh finally has his epiphany that he likes Cher.
Did you notice? So when he calls her Pippi Longstocking and then she calls him Forrest Gump, immediately she takes out her braids and he takes off his hat.
I did not notice that.
Immediately. And then they both like are like side-eyeing each other. And then that's when the lawyer, like I can also understand being annoyed as a lawyer dude being like, my career rests on this case. Can you stop making eyes at each other?
Then they have the moment on the stairs and they kiss.
Yeah. Knowing what we know about Mel, if he walked in and saw them kissing, do we think he would be chill with this?
I don't think so, because he's a high-powered, sort of uptight lawyer, and they were siblings at one point.
And he is so overly protective of Cher, and he even says at the beginning, you divorce wives, you don't divorce children. So he views Josh as a son, as a child. I cannot, based on the way they set Mel's character up, I mean, clearly he also has a very soft spot for Cher, so maybe she could argue or persuade him and come around to it, but his relationship with Josh, at the very least, is going to be strained for a while.
Cut to a view of a wedding. Voiceover from Cher saying, of course it's not my wedding. This is California, not Kentucky. I'm only 16.
Oh, I was looking up ages. So I think we can say by the time they kiss, I'm going to say Cher is 16, Josh is 18, because that makes me a little less insane. I looked up their real ages. Alicia would have been 18, and Paul Rudd would have been 26. Not fantastic. Not the worst.
I mean, there's theories that Paul Rudd is a vampire. So we find out the wedding is for Mr. Hall and Miss Geist.
I love Miss Geist's wedding dress.
And all the students have been invited to that wedding.
Not only invited, Cher is a bridesmaid.
Do they not have adult friends?
I mean, I feel like mostly when I hear of students being invited to a wedding, it's because it's like the kindergarten teacher. She thinks it's going to be cute to invite the kindergartners. I will say, Cher definitely is the one who got them together.
Yeah.
But also Dion was just as involved, so why is Dion also not a bridesmaid? But Dion was in the like colors of the bridesmaid, so there's that. There was another adult woman, at least, that was a bridesmaid. They also invited Lucy, Cher's housekeeper, was there in the bouquet toss scene.
I didn't see that.
I would not invite Amber to my wedding if I was Miss Geist. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah. And then we end with them full on making out.
Yep.
You see some tongue.
Which Cher's dad, he didn't seem to be at the wedding from what we could see. Maybe he's busy with his lawsuit. That's when I had the moment of like, oh, so like we've established they're together. It's maybe a little while later.
Everyone's cool with the fact that they were siblings at one
Everybody's
point.
just chill with this. That's weird. But when this came out and we were all young, we didn't really think too deeply about that part of it. Looking back, like there was quite a bit of like sibling dynamics. So it's a little interesting. But
90s for you.
That's Clueless. What do you think, Sky?
It was fun. I probably need to have watched it, not in my 30s. I don't have any like nostalgia like I'm sure many people have.
Yeah. Was there anything you watched through that you're like, oh, I get this reference now to something else? I have not seen a lot of old, like especially 80s movies, and there's times that I'm watching them like, that's where that line is from.
Not like anything memorable besides, oh, that's how Crimson Wave became
No.
popular. But
And the whatever hand sign.
oh yes, whatever hand sign.
Now you'll understand when I go forward, and when Elisa Donovan shows up in season 5, you'll have back reference for Amber because her character is going to be very similar to Amber.
Typecasting.
Very, very much typecasted. And then, so like this debuted in 95, in summer of 95. So in fall of 96 is when the TGIF TV show of Clueless debuts. It's the same fall that Sabrina debuts. And they thought Clueless, the TV show, was going to be the one that was huge. And so they put a lot of their money behind marketing that. Like there's even an ad in TV Guide or something like that where it's full page, Clueless coming this fall. And in a small corner, also Sabrina.
Is the Clueless TV show one of the crossover ones?
There was that really brief, I talked about it earlier this season where Sabrina appears on campus for like half
no
a second.
context,
For no
yeah.
context, yeah. Alicia Silverstone does not come back as Cher in the TV series. It's a different actress that plays Cher. Also, they add David Lasher, who replaces Paul Rudd as Josh. David Lasher will join Sabrina in season 4.
Okay.
So there's a lot of Sabrina Clueless crossover as far as characters or actors go.
Well, that was Clueless, and
That was Clueless.
11 parts.
I think it was kind of fun to do something like this.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting once you put it all together to see how long we've actually talked for. I mostly just did not want to do scene by scene recap.
Yeah, and they're so quick again.
And there's so much in every, because there's like 4 different plot lines going on at any given point. There's a lot going on to it. But I will do real notes for our next one, which will be the Killing the Competition, Melissa Joan Hart Lifetime movie. We'll do that one next week. And then we'll be into season 2 after that. So if you're getting real bored and being like, go back to Sabrina, this is what I'm here for. We are, don't worry, it's coming.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
We sat across from each other.
We saw each other in person for the first time since December?
Yeah.
No, January.
January, yeah.
It's been a hot minute, so it's been nice to see you in person.
It has.
Be with some cats.
Shared a microphone with each other and some cats, and we'll see how the quality of this episode is given all that. But it was fun.
It's a free podcast. You get what you get.
Maybe one day I'll have the soundproof room, and it's a small space.
In the meantime, like, share, rate, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Something Witchy Pod, Facebook and Threads, also Something Witchy Pod, TikTok, something.witchy.pod. There have been a series of sword facts videos that have gone up.
Have been.
Just some other fun stuff happening. We recently posted about what we were reading for World Book Day. Yeah, follow us on the socials. You can email us at somethingwitchypod@gmail.com. And until next time,
Stay magical.